to the Pursuit of Truth, just into Sky News, and we've got former Prime Minister Tony Blair talking at the Royal United Service Institute in London. I don't understand why he's still talking, why he's still given a voice in the media public, considering the fact that he did lie to the British public about the weapons of mass destruction, the fact that they could be launched in 45 minutes, even if he wants to blame his intelligence. It was him who lied to us, it was him who led us into the illegal war, as Kofi Annan said, of the United Nations after he left. He didn't say it when he was there, obviously, that it was an illegal war. It was against, it's regime change. Many reasons why Tony shouldn't be speaking anymore, why he shouldn't be given it this platform. He should be facing criminal investigation, the same with George W. Bush, for the lies that they told and for the bloodshed that they caused in Iraq and Afghanistan, leading us into a war that just wasn't legal. No matter what the resolutions they used or concocted and stories and etc. We all know that, but he's still given time, and now he's talking about Islamists and he's trying to put the fear. Obviously most people, when they hear him use that word Islamist, they're just going to think Islam and think of Muslims in general rather than the terrorists that he's referring to. But also the fact that now they're building the story for, because of Afghanistan being either going back in there or to do other things, giving them more powers to attack people. But the fact is, he's talking about Islamists, terrorists, etc. Let's look at the real threat. How many people do they kill compared to capitalists, compared to cigarettes, compared to sugar and food, compared to trafficking and all sorts of other crimes that happen? Why are you just concentrating on this one particular thing? It's because it's to do with Islam. That's why he's facing it. Because capitalism is the biggest danger. The system that we live in is the bigger danger to people, to us generally, the people who are listening to this on YouTube. And these things is very unlikely it's ever going to touch you, but they're going to waste millions on it. They're going to waste hours talking about it, but they're not going to do things about the real problems, the suffering that is around the world, the inequality, the injustices, and etc. Anyway, you all know that. But it's just, I don't understand why he's still given the platform to talk when he should be in prison for what he did. He's a disgrace, and I'm going to leave you with his disgraceful words of concocting lies and continuing the same story that he always does. And the fact that he puts terrorists with communism, that tells you which side he's on. He's on the side of capitalists. But they're probably the biggest danger, because they run the system that causes the injustice and inequalities around the world for humanity.
Security challenges, each of which require handling on its own terms based on local circumstances. Is Islamism a problem, or only its manifestation in violent extremism? Is it akin, as I say, to revolutionary communism, and must be countered by a combination of security and ideological measures over the long term? Or is that to overstate it, overestimate it, and thus perversely, as some would argue, by the interventions in Afghanistan and Iraq, to elevate its appeal rather than diminish its appeal? This is a fundamental strategic question, and it needs a clear answer. In my view, Islamism, both the ideology and the violence, is a first-order security threat, and unchecked, it will come to us, even if centered far from us, as 9/11 demonstrated. The analysis published recently by Dr. El-Badawi from my institute shows how the roots of Islamism stretch back over many decades, grew in strength long before 9/11, and it examines the links between the ideology and the violence. This is supplemented by the excellent analysis of the ulema state concept by Ahmed Kuru, and by the annual report we publish of jihadist groups, which shows that this is a global challenge and one that is getting worse. The ideology, whether Shia promulgated by the Islamic Republic of Iran or Sunni promoted by groups on a spectrum from the Muslim Brotherhood through to Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Boko Haram and many others, has been the principal cause of destabilization across the Middle East and beyond, and today in Africa. Like revolutionary communism, it operates in many different arenas and dimensions. And like it, its defeat will come ultimately through confronting both the violence and the ideology by a combination of hard and soft power. Now, if this is a correct analysis, then especially after the fall of Afghanistan, the leading powers must unite to develop an agreed strategy. And even if initial discussions center around Western nations, China and Russia also have an interest in countering this ideology, and our best allies are to be found in the many Muslim countries, including in the Middle East, desperate to retake their religion from extremism. We need also to assess our vulnerability. COVID-19 has taught us about deadly pathogens. Bioterror possibilities may seem like the realm of science fiction, but we would be wise now to prepare for their potential use by non-state actors. On the other hand, if this analysis is rejected, the alternative is, in effect, to say this is a second-order problem where we are directly threatened, we retaliate through counter-terrorism measures, drone strikes, surveillance, special forces, but otherwise we leave alone. But if this is where policy is heading, we have to understand it to its limitations. We need to work out what we mean by not remaking countries from which terrorist threats can arise. I understand it means that we do not do what we tried to do in Afghanistan. The one thing should be understood: our remaking didn't fail because the people didn't want the country remade. For sure we could have remade better.
You didn't remake the country at all. You left them in poverty and suffering. What's he talking about? Oh my god, this man is delusional. But this is part of the problem. He's just trying to create the idea of pathogens, COVID-19, wars. That's his answer to everything. Military action, taking over other people's lives and imposing on them capitalism and democracy, whereas all those things are the part of the problem that are causing much more suffering to people. Terrorists kill how many people a year? 1,000, 10,000? But the system that we live in kills a lot more people. Right? But he's never going to talk about that. Take care, take it easy, God bless, and peace.